Hey, everybody. All right, let's talk a little bit more about preparation. And don't mind the pajamas, different day, same pajamas, because I usually wear them a couple nights in a row. All right, let's get into this. I want to talk a little bit more about preparation because I have seen some people kind of posting some things, and I want to make sure I'm hoping that like everything that I'm posting is giving you ideas and also steering you in the right direction as to what kind of supplies you yourself are buying. So I want to talk specifically about lighting and heating source. All right, when you are getting these things for yourself, you want to make sure that you are not relying on anything that is going to be running off of battery. Okay, and I even asked my source self, I'm going to check again, but there's even like flashlights that have like solar, that you can solar charge them, but it was telling me that that's a no-go either. So anything that is battery run or electrical run is not going to work for you. So that's why it's important that you get candles. That's why Fredrik had mentioned candles in his videos, his first video about this. You're gonna need these kind of lighting sources. We're going back to the olden days where there's no such thing as, you just turn on the light, boom, you got electricity. It's not gonna be that way for those 3 days, okay? Or maybe even longer, who knows, until the grid comes back on. So you want to make sure that you are not stuck with the wrong kind of supplies. It's like super important as far as that. Now, and again, when you're looking for your heating sources, don't look for anything that's going to rely on some kind of electrical something. Like generators are not going to work. None of that stuff's going to work. Now I did mention previously that I bought an old kind of like a traditional kind of alarm clock that, like a nightstand alarm clock that you wind up every day. I have that somewhere in store. Like I'm going to go in storage this week. But today I remembered, my source self brought it to my attention, or something did. Nevertheless, I'm super thankful for that. I have a Citizen watch that I bought years ago. I probably bought it like 20 years ago, or close to that. And it is an eco drive watch, meaning it has no battery. So, initially you put it under light. Once you put it on, you put it under light to get it to go work again. But then once it starts working, it goes off of your body, okay, like your pulse. So you might want to look for a watch that functions in that way. I have to go dig mine out. It's in storage. It's like from when I packed things up like almost 3 years ago. So I have to go find that. That's because I was like, how am I going to figure out what day it is? Yeah, the clock will help me in some respect, but if I have my watch, that's going to be even better for me because I'm going to be able to tell what day it is, and I know the watch will keep ticking. So again, look for something that's eco drive, that runs off of your body's circulation or your body's current, okay? That's another thing that I wanted to make sure you are looking for, because I've seen some people kind of post things about these little tea light. Those are battery run. Like, don't do that. There's these other lights. If I didn't mention it in these other videos that I've posted, they're these little emergency lights, and they were like $8, and I just ordered like 4 of them because I don't think I'm going to need a lot of them, but I ordered at least 4. And basically they run off of salt water or urine. You activate them in, using liquid. So it will work off of salt water or urine if that's your only source. Obviously urine has probably salts and all that in there. So I figured those would be good to have like in areas like the bathroom, whatever, wherever I might be, so that I don't have to have candles in all my rooms and waste candles, burn too many candles. Because I want, even though I've purchased like 112 hour burn time candles, I want to at least have like a couple burning and have like some in reserve. What else? So yeah, those are the most important things that I'm thinking about right now. Thermals, long johns, so that you can have layers of clothing on. You have the base layer, which is your thermals, your long johns. Then you have another layer, and then, you know, coat, gloves, warm socks, boots. Buy hand warmers, you know, like those activated charcoal things that you could put in your gloves. They also sell like the ones that are for like aches and pains that you can kind of attach to, you can kind of stick to you, but you want to be careful that you don't, you know, they always warn you about, like, you might want to stick it to like your layer of clothing, but it'll keep different parts of your body warm. Like if you're a thinner person, they sell them like for menstrual cramps and stuff like that. So like you can wear it like a belt. There's different ones, and they're bigger size. So, you know, you can consider some of those things to keep your body warm, different parts of your body warm, so that you're not like, you know, but again, having a main heating source in the room or rooms that you're going to be in during that time. And what else? Balaclava is what I'm planning on getting, so that my head and my face are complete, you know, like just that. That's all I'm gonna have uncovered. I'm planning on wearing that. And then I was like, how am I going to keep my brain occupied? How am I not going to start spiraling? But books. Have reading material. Think of, if you have lighting source, then, you know, think of maybe like coloring books, like Sudoku, crosswords, things like that. Things that are going to occupy your mind and your time and keep the day progressing for you, okay? Of course, you know, if you can go in the silence and you can do that, that's going to help you, because a lot of time when you're in the silence and you're really in there, you can spend hours in there and it doesn't feel like it. So that could really make time progress faster for you. Of course, what else? This is a whole series, and as I think of things, make sure, and these are things, some of these things are things that Judy has already said, as far as like stocking up on your food supply, making sure you have at least a month, making sure like medications, like if you take medications, make sure you have enough of that, right? Over-the-counter medications, maybe a first aid kit, you know, just these kind of basic things. Yeah, that's it for now. Again, I will keep sharing more stuff as more things come to the forefront of my mind to give you guys any ideas that are needed. All right. Thanks. Be well.